Well, thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys for your understanding. And now we can go back to talking about some D-Rose shoes. So guys, regular Adidas box, as we already know. It's what we've gotten used to with the Rose line. But when we get the Son of Shy, you know we'll be seeing something just a little bit different. But here is the Rose 11 in this Brenda colorway. And I just absolutely love the colorway of this shoe. This red and black blocking always looks great, no matter what Rose it is. And, you know, seeing it on another model is great. Some of the things that I do really love about this shoe, too, mainly comes into the outsole. This rose print pattern all throughout the outsole is just super dope. And, I mean, I just love that, guys. I mean, that's just so cool. That outsole pattern, as you see, is the same pattern as on the Rose 7. So it's like the fire pattern that's, you know, the north to south traction pattern. It's really cool. I do like, too, that it has the Rose, the old Rose logo, that is, with the 3 stripes for the E, also into the pattern on the outsole. But you also have these 4 stars here on the bottom, which are meant to represent the Chicago flag, which is cool. The torsional cutout in the shoe is the same from the Adidas Next Levels, which makes sense because these shoes use the same midsole as the Adidas Next Level, with the light strike midsole and even the support bar that goes from about the middle of the forefoot that extends back to your heel. And, you know, those features are just standard for what you have on the Rose 11. This upper is meant to be like what I call a new generation sprint web. That's not officially said anywhere, but it's how I look at it because it's basically the same type of implementation they use of the sprint web material, but now on the Rose 11s. And, you know, it's just kind of cool because it just has that same look to it. You can see it a lot easier in the close-ups, and which is the other reason, too, why I think these shoes have the Adidas DRose branding on them again, too. Or it may just be used as a way to call back to the original Adidas DRose 1s, 2s, 1.5s, 2.5s, you know, all that great stuff. The tongue also is like GeoFit in the padding on it, and same here back in the collar, which is nice. The D-Rose logo here on the heel is very nice as well, along with the Rose 11 branding there too. And the toe box is also meant to look like the Rose 4s, in case anyone has forgotten about that. And yeah, I mean, this shoe is pretty great, and I love it for so many different reasons. But I want to talk about something that I don't really love about this shoe, which is that the original images for this shoe that we saw is different than what we get. And what I mean by that is that on the original product images for this shoe, if you looked at the tongue, behind the back of the tongue, it originally showed like a rose, and I think it may have one side maybe have even said Brenda on it too, which is something that would have been cool to have because like the Rose 3s say Brenda on the back of the tongue, you know. Just these other little additional call outs to the naming for the shoe would have been dope to have, but alas, that's not really the case. You know, even like I think there was even something special in the insoles for those shoes originally, or this colorway originally, but now the insole is just, you know, the D-Rose logo, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not a bad thing that it's just a D-Rose logo, but I mean, what it is it's annoying when you see that there was more care put into a colorway of the Rose 11s that no longer is the case. So when that happens, you know, that's just one of those things where it's like, well, you kind of got to find just the strength to keep going and just not complain. Something, too, that I just, you know, wanted to also just kind of show at the same time as the Rose 7s in this Brenda colorway. I've worn these a lot. This is a shoe that I wear casually quite often, but I probably should have hooped them more, but I probably still could because I mean, this outsole hasn't really, you know, worn out at all, but just, you know, something to show you guys here on camera. So I haven't done any comparison videos between the Rose 11s and the other ones, but you can see that traction pattern is the exact same, which is cool. And what's interesting is that, you know, when I do finally get my hands on a pair of the Son of Shies, I'll look at those and also be able to take a closer examination to what other Rose models are used to create that one in terms of like the callbacks, because the outsole on that one looks like it's straight ripped from the Crazy Quicks and the Rose 4s. And what I also find to be kind of interesting is that in both these circumstances, when these dropped and when those dropped, and even when the 10s dropped, the retros that they were dropping at the time also implemented that same traction pattern from the outsole. So, I mean, is that coincidence? Maybe so, maybe not. Whatever the case may be, it's just kind of cool. And so, yeah, I really do love this shoe, man. Like, I've been waiting to wear these or even hoop in these until I did a review for you guys so you can see them nice and crisp and clean. And now that I've done that, I will definitely be rocking these. So yeah, I love this colorway. It's super cool. The Rose 11s, in terms of performance-wise, in case anyone wants to know before I go what my thoughts are on them, even all these months later, I still like them a lot. The traction's really great on them. Support's pretty great as well too. They are not as great as the Rose 7s because the boost is still, I think, unmatched, and the ankle collar and the thick GeoFit padding around the tongue and the ankle is just like, I mean, it's hard to beat. But outside of that, this shoe is pretty much like the closest thing we've had since that one. And I love it still. I still hoop in it quite often, and every now and then, you know, if I have a game coming up where I feel like, I want to go to an all reliable, I put on the 7s, you know, because they're just, this is the shoe. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this look at the D-Rose 11 Brenda colorway. I'll be back with more reviews here shortly. What I'm going to follow up with next will be the Rose 773 2020 performance review, because I haven't talked about those and you guys have wanted to hear about those. So that's what will be coming next. I'm actually probably going to film that as soon as I get done filming this one. So when you see me wearing the same thing, mind your business. But outside of that, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, guys, peace. And I'll see you around then. Bye.